Yeah. So we're emerging, well, not emerging out, or maybe we're in it, but it's dark times. They say the top startups, a lot of them have been started in dark times. So if you're a fresh college graduate, or if you're someone in midlife or in your 30s and you're working and you're fed up, or you don't have a very positive outlook right now, what are some of the opportunities in business and in entrepreneurship that you would forecast would be good bets in the next 2 to 5 years coming out of this?
Well, I would start by saying I don't think people should be founders of companies that are good bets because there's really two attributes that matter to me about starting a company. Number one is, are you passionate about it? There's great businesses that are incredibly valuable that I think I could never wake up every day and have to do that. And you're going to put your life into this, your heart and soul, and it's going to obsess you if you're the kind of person who could be a successful entrepreneur. So you really need something you're passionate about that you really want to embrace and be your main thing in your life. And the second thing is it has to be something, therefore, that you know more than most people about. And to do that, you've got to become obsessed with it and research it and study it and learn everything you can. And so that would be my starting point. Now, if you want to know the areas that I think are going to be big, it's really about trying to project where the world's going to be in 5 to 10 years. So I'll tell you how we think about it as VCs. There's some obvious stuff here. I think food security is going to continue to be a massive problem. And I think countries are going to start to pay a lot more attention about how they source food and distribute food, how they control food, how they make sure that they don't run out of food. I often suggest to people to read a set of books by a guy named Peter Zahan. He wrote The Accidental Superpower, The Absent Superpower, and then more recently, Disunited Nations. Now, he's American. He writes a very pro-American book, so I should just warn you about that. But he does a really good job in Disunited Nations about talking about why global order is being disrupted and what the future of the world might look like. And if you buy that premise that he has in the book, is the global supply chains are unbundling and countries are forming new relationships, and that scarcity of assets is going to exist in the future, then that should play into your mindset. So we think about food scarcity. I think a lot about water scarcity. I think about unaffordable healthcare and the need to provide more affordable healthcare. What technology changes are actually allowing you to provide better healthcare outcomes? So everything from telemedicine to wearables to more data availability so consumers can make their own choices. Healthcare management software. So we're spending time there. I'm spending more time in fire management and looking at and thinking about fire management due to climate change. We're thinking a lot about energy security and the future of energy. Now, these don't sound like themes you expect from a VC because it seems like we're all chasing e-commerce and we're all chasing social media. And we do some amount of that as well. But I think real money is going to be made and real world problems are going to be solved by innovators who are solving bigger problems. In the same way that, 15 years ago, you wouldn't have imagined a guy named Elon Musk would change the entire auto industry, to where Ford and GM now in the United States have announced they're phasing out cars that have combustible engines and phasing out fossil fuels. That's only possible, honestly, by one person, Elon Musk. And the hyper success of Tesla, and not just in the number of cars he sells, which is still pretty small, but his outsized influence. And what you talked about is his ability to build a direct relationship with an audience to create super fans that are willing to buy his cars even before he releases them by putting down deposits that allow him to have a lower cost of capital to go build this stuff. And by wanting to own his stock and driving up the stock price, which gives him a currency to do things other companies can't do. And he did it by building a direct-to-consumer audience. So I would just say to people, solve harder problems, deeper problems. You don't need to be as smart or as driven as Elon Musk. You don't need to change the way cars work. But if you're going to do something that is worth doing and that changes something.